Hey, Michelle.
We're doing this?
Yeah, absolutely we are. Come on.
I got in a lot
Jenna?
of trouble this weekend for
How was that meal and stuff?
It was pissing with rain.
Let me tell you something. I give it to you. I know you don't even need to tell you this. It took some balls to go back and do that. I really wanted to. No, I like the restaurant guys. They made the right call. By the way, New York City. They did? Okay.
Better about it.
I realize that. But yeah, once you meet the mayor, you
I know Michelle.
know Michelle. You may remember Michelle, you were here last time.
Yes, 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 yes. How are you? Yeah, good to see you. Good, yes, right.
I know.
You got this. I'm not worried about you. Here's the only thing. Don't take that with you.
I will not. Well, that makes
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second.
hang 'em.
Pat, you want to take a quick picture here? Sure.
Can't beat that picture. That's a picture. Okay,
There
there
it
you
is.
go.
Ready?
I'm ready. You just started off, Deb?
Yeah, say good morning.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, NJEA. My name is Eloy Delgado, and I am the proud president of the Linden Education Association, an all-inclusive local made up of so many different job categories. I am also an ESL teacher in the Linden Public Schools, so I know firsthand the impacts that will occur when Governor Murphy signs this new law today. For years, I have seen how my members, your neighbors, your friends, your spouses, your sons and daughters were losing money every single year due to a law called Chapter 78. Let me paint this picture for you. Imagine, if you will, that if every time you got a raise, you opened your check and there is less money in it. This was the case for beloved educator Anthony Fischetti, one of the best teachers this state has to offer. In 2012, Anthony was making $1,567 in his net pay. Fast forward to 2017, and Anthony's net pay was $1,472. Let me repeat that for you. In 2017, many years later, Anthony's net pay declined to $1,472. That is the impact of Chapter 78. Chapter 78 was impacting educators who could no longer adequately plan how they would support their family, grow their family, or plan for any other of life's great milestones. This was the case for Debbie Sager, a dual-certified special education science high school teacher. And from all my educators in the room, you know that's a hard combination to find. After years and years of losing money, Debbie knew she could no longer afford to stay in the profession that she devoted her blood, sweat, and tears to. This is the case for so many of my paraprofessionals who have to work before care, after care, and still pick up an extra shift at Target to make ends meet. That is the consequence of Chapter 78. When NJA, under the great leadership of President Marie Bliston, in 2017 endorsed a man by the name of Phil Murphy, I knew things would be changing for the better. Now, I will admit, I didn't know who Phil Murphy was, but when I met him at a town hall that he held in my city of Elizabeth, I knew he was different. I knew in my heart that Phil Murphy believed in uplifting the voices of the working and middle-class people of this state. We can go down the list of accomplishments: $15 minimum wage, increasing paid of family leave, which is effective today, by the way, July 1st. Never giving up the fight for a millionaire's tax, signing the nation's toughest equal pay for equal work law, leading us through a global pandemic while putting our lives first. And now today, ending Chapter 78 once and for all. It is my great honor, it is my great privilege to introduce to you the best governor of my lifetime, Governor Phil Murphy.
Eloy, do you mind going around with me all over the state and introducing you?
Absolutely.
Oh, Lord. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all. I just asked Eloy a slight favor if he would travel around the state and always introduce me. Oh, Lord. Thank you, Eloy. It's good to see you again. Thank you for your gracious words, your introduction, and for all you do for your students in Linden. God bless you. Been another great community in Union County. And for you and all your colleagues up and down the state, I am honored to be here and honored to take this action today. Let's hear it for every single member of NJEA. It is an honor to also be joined, and by the way, this is the ultimate "it takes a village." No one of us could have gotten this done. I'm joined today and honored to be joined by a handful of extremely important partners in governing and advocacy to help get us to this day in this historic bill signing. Beginning, please, let's give a big shout out to Senate President Steve Sweeney. To his left, another great leader, the man with no socks, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. And to his left, we're in his backyard. He is one of our hosts today, another great leader and friend, Senator Joe Cryan. Yeah. And certainly last but no least, I don't know why when we scalp the tickets, they got a front row seat and she's in the low section, but let's hear it for the president of the New Jersey Education Association, Marie Bliston. Somebody really important to this, and we got a few other folks out here. I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody, so please forgive me, but Assemblywoman Nancy Pinkin is right before us, incredibly important in this. It's also incredibly important. I saw your license plate out there. I knew when I saw the LC and the 1 that Linda Carter was in the House, Assemblywoman. By the way, I believe this is true, not only a public school educator, but the only one, to the best of my knowledge, in the legislature. Right there, Linda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're also being hosted by a great mayor, Michelle Dellisfort. Thank you very much, Mayor. Manny Figueredo, your predecessor, is here. Manny, bless you, and thank you for everything you do. I want to give my buddy Gary Taffet a shout out in the back, freeholder Angela Gerritsen, and also on a tip of the cap to the principal here, Mark Hoyt, and superintendent in town, Greg Tatum, and to the whole team of educators, and right here, super, great to have you, man. Again, I could go on and on, I won't. Long before I took office as governor, Marie, I'll never forget that first lunch that we had together. It was so dire at the end of it. I said, can you please give me, is there any good news out there? And boy, we got good news today. But long before I took office, let alone before I decided to seek this office, I had spoken with educators and educational leaders across the state on how the next governor could best support them in the education profession. Almost to a person. Ed Richardson's here. Ed, great to see you, buddy. All right. Almost to a person, they told me 3 things. First, they wanted a governor who would commit to funding our schools and classrooms and who would work to provide the financial resources our districts need to meet the needs of all of our school children. That was a consistent theme. Secondly, another one I heard from everybody, they wanted a governor who would respect the teaching profession again, who would stop the 8 years of name-calling and finger-pointing, and who would instead stand alongside our educators in partnership and friendship. And third, universally, they wanted relief from the onerous provisions of Chapter 78 that had driven up their out-of-pocket costs to the point, as Eloy articulated very clearly, to the point where many educators were getting effective pay cuts, and which had the ultimate effect of driving qualified educators out of the profession entirely, or drying the pipeline up of future educators, or both. So with this bill I'm signing today, and this is not all me, we couldn't have done this without the group up here and without each and every one of you. I am proud that this administration, again working in partnership with our colleagues in the legislature, will have delivered on all 3 of those items. But I think at least the real importance of this bill isn't just in how it creates an entirely new way of protecting the health of our educators, or frankly in the hundreds of millions of dollars it ultimately will save our taxpayers, although, by the way, certainly neither ought to be overlooked. Those are both big deals. What I think we must take away from this day is that today New Jersey returned to one of the central tenets of our state, and that is collective bargaining. Amen. And as we have As we have seen time and again, at the end of the day, negotiation, as painful as it might be, an open dialogue and partnership and conversation will always get you more in the end. By working together with Marie and her colleagues at NJEA, I mentioned Ed, who's on to greener or different pastures, Ed, but I also want to give your vice president, I just swore him in as the mayor of the People's Republic of Montclair, Sean Spiller, I want to give a shout out to. Secretary and Treasurer Steve Beatty is with us. Steve, hats off to you. Executive Director Steve Swetsky and the whole team, to each and every one of you. But by working with Marie and your colleagues, rather than trying to work over the top, we have arrived at a better outcome. An outcome through which our taxpayers will save money, while the high-quality health care our educators deserve will be maintained. This was never, by the way, an either-or question. It had to be and both, and today we proved it could be. And let's not forget, the overwhelming majority of our public school educators are, in fact, New Jersey taxpayers. This was never an issue of whether or not someone got special treatment. This was always about ensuring everyone had an equal shot at a fair deal. There are many others who played a role in the agreement that has ultimately led us to this gym. In addition to the Senate President, the Speaker, Senator Cryan, I mentioned Assemblywoman Nancy Pinkin and Linda Carter. I also want to thank the remaining sponsors, Senators Linda Greenstein, Vin Gopal, Pat Dignan, Declan O'Scallon, and Chris Brown, and Assembly members Ron Dancer, Verlina Reynolds-Jackson, Mila Jacey, and Betty Lou DeCroce. By the way, note that that is a bipartisan group of leaders, and that's another important point to make today. I also want to thank, she's in the way back, but she ought to be up front. I want to thank Lori McCabe from neighboring Middlesex County for her tireless work, and I'm so pleased that she's here today, as well as so many of the members and other members of Marie's team. So folks, it's taken nearly 9 years to get here together, but today, in fact, we are here. And as we return to one of our core values of our state, collective bargaining, we strengthen the profession, which helps pass our New Jersey values on to the next generation. And we recommit to our educators that we will work with you honestly and fairly for a better future for you, for your colleagues, for your families, and for all who will someday join your ranks. Thank you all so very much. Before I have the honor of uncapping some pens, and I will say it'll be done in a very unique COVID-19 social distancing, highly cleaned way. Before I have that honor to sign this into law, it is my distinct honor to introduce a great leader, a great friend, a tireless advocate on behalf of her profession and of all folks up and down this state, working families and working people everywhere. Please help me welcome the president of the New Jersey Education Association, my dear friend, your dear friend, Marie Bliston.
Got to adjust these mics, first of all.
You good?
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't sure who the governor was talking about. There are a lot of great leaders up here, but there was one cue that he gave me as a classroom teacher, master's in reading specialist. He said she. And when I looked, it was the only she there. So thank you very much. And thank all of you. I want to first start out by giving my sincere and deep thanks and gratitude to Senate President Steve Sweeney, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, Senator Cryan, another gentleman who is not here today but in the Assembly, Assemblyman Gary Scher. Thank you. My very good friend, fellow advocate, teacher, union advocate, Eloy Delgado. Wonderful, beautiful speech. Eloy, thank you. And of course, my team, our team, my fellow officers, Steve Beatty, Secretary Treasurer, Mayor Sean Spiller, Executive Director Steve Swetsky. Deputy Executive Director Kevin Kelleher. And Governor mentioned him. Ed Richardson is our immediate past Executive Director, but he had an awful lot to do with us during this 2 years. We thank you, Ed. And that's our leadership team, but I'm going to have to give a couple more call-outs, because during this time, we had some people who may as well have been part of the leadership team because they were either in our meetings every other day or they were on the phone with me, and that is Patrick Monahan, who led the field effort with our members, and Steve Baker. Steve Baker, Communications Director. He's top-notch, and as I always say, you guys can't have him. And all the other NJEA leaders and staff members who I look across this room are here today. Today, it's the culmination of more than 2 years of work by over 200,000 members, active, retired, what we call our pre-service, those who aspire to come into this great profession of education. We worked very hard to tell our stories one by one, with legislators, with mayors, with town council, with the public. A law that ultimately hurt our members, it dragged down our profession, and it even threatened the quality, the best quality public education system in this state. But not only did we win relief for our members, but we did it in a way that our public schools, with their budgets as challenging as ever have been, will be a help. We did it in a way that New Jersey communities and working families who are desperately in need of some good news. But most remarkably, it was done unanimously in the legislature. And I'm going to say that again, unanimously. When Senate 2273 passed the Senate on March 19th under the leadership of Senate President Steve Sweeney, every single Republican and Democrat voted for this bill. And when A20 passed the Assembly on June 29th under the leadership of Speaker Craig Coughlin, every single Republican and Democrat voted yes. Next conjunction for my next sentence is going to start with and, because we are here to get one last big yes from the pen, from the man whose pen makes this bill into our great law, Governor Phil Murphy. But I want to say this, because I think this is noteworthy. When every Republican in the legislature, when every Democrat in the legislature, and the governor of the state agree with the state's largest public employee union on health care reform that protects high-quality benefits but saves everyone money, well, that just has to be the most surprising political story of the year. And we are here because that is exactly what happened. People are judged not by what they say, but by their actions. We know that as educators, we know that as parents, and we know that as leaders. When people who cared about this state, who truly valued public education, when people found a way to sit down, talk, negotiate, and sometimes fight a little bit, because that's what we do as advocates, when we refused, and when I say we refused to give up until we found a win-win-win solution that we can all be very proud of. So I do genuinely thank these leaders, and I thank every legislator who supported us. But most of all, I absolutely thank our NJEA members who fought for this win. At the same time that they were making New Jersey's public schools and keeping them the best in the nation, number one, at the same time that they were transitioning into an unprecedented time of remote learning for 1.4 million children, at the same time our NJEA members were working to keep their own families safe and healthy because they believed in this cause and they refused to let anything stop them. Now, we still have a little bit of unfinished business to make sure that our 50,000 ESPs, our educational support professionals that I call our essential professionals, who probably will be cleaning this gym when we leave, who probably set the chairs up in this gym and will be taking them down, our bus drivers, our aides, our cafeteria workers, our custodians, our maintenance, our security, our tech people, our secretaries. When we make sure that they also get the job justice that they have earned and they deserve. But here's what I know. We were able to accomplish this today. I know that we are going to come together to finish the job, gentlemen. So thank you, Senate President Sweeney. Thank you, Speaker Coughlin. Thank you, Governor Murphy. Thank you to my NJEA leadership team. Thank you to our NJEA staff. But most of all, again, thank you to our NJEA members for never giving up on our students, never giving up on our profession, and for working as usual until the job was done. My thanks to you.
Thank you, Marie. Fantastic, as always. Again, it takes a village, it takes a group of really strong leaders. We've got them unlike any other state in America. Please help me welcome one of them, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, everybody, for coming out on this beautiful summer day. It was 9 years ago, I think yesterday, that Chapter 78 was enacted, and what a long and winding road it has been since then. But I want to thank my colleagues who are both supporters of the bill, who were co-sponsors, and Linda, as the Governor pointed out, Nancy Pinkin, Linda Carter, who's an NJEA member, proud. And I'm an unabashed supporter of public education. I believe in it. I believe it is one of the things that we don't get enough credit for or take enough credit for here in New Jersey. I'm the proud product of public schools. My sons are, my wife is, and it is something that we should recognize at every turn, because being the best public education system in the country, and that's what we are, the best public education system in the country, is something that we all ought to be proud of each and every day. And at the heart of that are teachers and educational support professionals. And so over the 9 years that have ensued after the passage of Chapter 78, it became clear that we needed to do something for those teachers who were, as we heard before, taking home less and less take-home pay, because their premium, their contribution to their health benefits was tied to the premiums, not to their salary. And so with an idea that began with the Senate President, who gets immense amount of credit, Steve, thank you for your work on this. Thank you for your leadership in bringing it forward. We got to work. And I think it's fitting that we've come together today at a particularly unique time, at a time when I think that people will recognize how important the work that teachers do. Ask any parent who had to sit at the table with their 7-year-old, their 10-year-old, and their 9-year-old. I'm glad we got this done. They would have given away all of your medical contributions after that. But the truth of the matter is, I think your profession has gotten the credit now that it deserves, because we all understand that these are real jobs and have real impact on their students' lives. And we're all eager and to get back to that system and thankful for the work that we've done. It also, as we've heard, means that we need to come together to recognize how important it is that the work that those people be recognized, and the need to constantly reinvent what it is that we do. And it was in that spirit that we've worked over the past couple of years to get to the point that we were at Monday when we passed it, the Senate having done so long before. By recognizing that we need to reflect the changes that are necessary in plans from time to time. And so this is a special day because of all of the hard work, because of the dedication and commitment to understanding that we need to make some change, and we need to know what's important to people who are so critically important to our society. And we were able to come together over the course of these many months. It's a great bill. It does great things. It guarantees savings, and it's going to save a lot more. It'll save, I think some estimates are up to $1 billion. That's real money and real change and real impact for the people. Schools, systems will be able to reduce property taxes or invest more in children's education. All of that, because we kept our noses to the grindstone, came to us together with the spirit of getting something done. And in that vein, I'd like to thank my staff, Lori McCabe, the aforementioned Lori McCabe, who works tirelessly on this, Dan Harris, who works tirelessly on everything, my friend Gary Taffet, and of course the leaders who were in this fight to get this done. Senate President Sweeney led his caucus to a place and did a bill that we all will be proud of for decades to come. Senate President, congratulations. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your efforts and your hard work. And to Marie Bliston, who is a fine negotiator and a woman I talked to on many occasions throughout the holidays being Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, but for leading her members so skillfully. Together we got something done, and together we should be proud of that and celebrate it. Congratulations to everybody involved. Thank you, Governor Murphy, for signing this bill. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much for your time. Good job.
Well said, Craig. We spoke about him behind his back, but he's now joined us, Vice President of NJEA, and sworn in a couple of hours ago as the Mayor of Montclair. Sean Spiller's in the house. Marie, I look forward, I know we all do, to working with you and getting the ESP reforms over the goal line, and I look forward to signing that with you, but only if the yellow and black bee will be standing beside you and me when we do that. That's a minimum, Swetsky, it's a minimum requirement on this side, okay? He's been mentioned by me, by Marie, by Craig. We wouldn't be here today without him. His leadership on this, including, as has been mentioned, extraordinarily across the aisle to bring this to where we are today. Please help me welcome the President of the New Jersey Senate, Senate President Steve Sweeney.
Thank you. This is really a big, important day. And when you were being introduced, Governor, I'm hearing, well, in 2017, when Marie Bliston endorsed, I said, oh, shit, we're not going back there, are we? I'm like, I don't want to go back there.
So we're going to wipe that one away.
Yeah. But, this is a very important day. And I want to start off by thanking Governor Murphy for signing this bill and the support that he's given teachers, because teachers are the cornerstone of our communities. They are critically important. Like you said, can you imagine what parents would have done without them during this time? To my partner, Joe Cryan, you don't have a stronger labor voice in the Senate than Joe Cryan. Joe, thank you. And when you read, when you think about what we accomplished, the strongest pay equity law in the country, expanding, sick leave, paid sick leave, and paid family leave and minimum wage. Yeah. When people say we can't get things done, that's bullshit. We've gotten a lot done here, and we're proud of it. And I want to thank the Speaker, because look, the speaker actually made a great bill better. And Craig, I thank you for the work that you put into it and the openness that you had in working with us, because this is big. I don't remember anything this big, and to have everyone vote for it, it's like, pinch me, this can't be happening. And listen, Marie isn't where she's at because she's not good. She's smart, she's tough, and we had several months of negotiations. But at the end of the day, the teachers wanted what we wanted. We just weren't talking to each other the way we should have. The teachers want to have great health care. We all want teachers to have great health care. Teachers wanted it to be affordable. We all wanted it to be affordable. We just weren't talking to each other. That might have been my fault for a while. Yeah, I think it was. But at the end of the day, to realize what we did here is no small accomplishment. And teachers are taxpayers, absolutely. All public employees are taxpayers. It's never, I don't like it when it's us against them, because it's not. We're all together. When we're all in it together, we're better off than you're on your own. So at the end of the day, we have come up with an amazing accomplishment that taxpayers are going to save $640 million. Teachers are going to save over $400 million. We're going to come up and ensure that the quality of health care is consistent and strong, because we want that to be an enticement for people to want to be teachers. Because let's face it, you can make a lot of money somewhere else. When my son told me he wanted to be a teacher, I said, oh, Jesus, Stephen, go, after all I spent, go get a job where you can make some money. But the point is, teachers give great sacrifice, and we value and we appreciate it. And Marie, I can't thank you enough for your partnership in letting us get beyond this, because there are other bills that are important, because we want to block privatization at every step of the way. When I served as a freeholder director in Gloucester County, which actually is sometimes more fun than this job, we never privatized a job. Privatization doesn't save anything. It just puts more cost on the taxpayers on the other end. Privatization is a bad thing, and you got a commitment from me, Marie. We're going to finish this package up with the speaker, and I know the governor supports this. So, again, it's hard to believe we're here, but I'm proud to say that we got it done. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Really well said. The humor is as good as it gets. Steve, thank you, and we wouldn't be here today without you. So God bless you and thank you, and amen to staying on this journey together. He's not here, but I have to give a quick shout out. Lamont Repillette's last day is today as the Commissioner of the Department of Education. He's going to be heading over. He's the new president of Keene University. Let's give Lamont a shout out and thanks in absentia. And last but certainly not least, we're in his district. He's a fearless leader. You know that because you live here and understand it. In so many cases here, you see him in action every day. Another guy, I don't know where would be without him, particularly, as Steve said, no one works harder on behalf of working families and labor in this state. Please help us welcome Senator Joe Cryan.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. What a day, huh? What a remarkable day. Before I begin, I do want to shout out a couple folks because they're so special here in the town of Union. There are hosts from the Board of Education, our board president, Nancy Manisi, and member Ron McDowell. Thank you. And Marie, I don't want to get in trouble, but you know we love our UTEA around here. So I want to shout out to Ann Margaret and to Rich DeVanzo and to James Frazier. Woohoo! Who'd have thunk? So when you make remarks, I can tell you I've never made a remark quoting this before, but I'm actually going to quote the Grateful Dead because what a long, strange trip it's been. Okay? I got to tell you. And I want to thank the people to my right because they made it happen. And when we went through this, and we could talk about 2 years, 9 years, 10 years, whatever we choose to, but we can talk about today. And the people to my right made that happen. I got to tell you, when the governor said he was coming here, I said, well, Phil doesn't need directions to Union. He's been here for the town hall. He's been here to support business. And today he's here to support labor. And St. Patrick's Day, he's marched in our parade. Ladies and gentlemen, a great governor, Phil Murphy. Great governor. I want to go down in order because this bill evolved and certainly went through iterations, as we all know. One of the things I think great leaders do is they adapt. They're flexible, they react to situations, and they understand and they look at the bigger picture. And I have to tell you, from a first-term senator, I watched a Senate president lead with flexibility, move on this issue, and bring us to a day that I never thought we would be at. And I have to say to a great leader, Steve Sweeney, congratulations for today. You did a great job. Great job. This bill actually, the work began in the assembly. People don't realize, because he doesn't really jump out to the spotlight, maybe because he doesn't wear socks, but that could be the reason. But what he does is he focuses on issues and he gets them done. And he took on this issue, which a lot of us thought at times, right, Marie, was insurmountable. And he kept it with a determination and a below the radar that many wouldn't have. Just in fact, like Steve did in the Senate along the way. This bill and this work, and the reason we're here today, because of a lot of people, but in no small factor, due to the leadership of my friend, Craig Coughlin. You've done an outstanding job here. Okay, really have. And I have to tell you, Craig, I know the governor and Craig mentioned her, but there are two people, there's a lot of people with Craig's staff and a lot of people in the Senate staff. But you will not find a more brilliant individual on health care in the state of New Jersey, and who created the contribution to this bill with, frankly, her direct knowledge and fierce determination to get it done. And that is Miss Lori McCabe back there. Lori, thank you very, very much. Thank you. And as you go, when you get bills like this, there's a whole lot to the journey. And you need guidance, and sometimes you need folks to weigh in and give you that quiet confidence and the ability to stay focused and stay determined. And he'll be embarrassed, and I know that he was mentioned once, but this bill also doesn't happen without the leadership and the quiet dignity and the quiet determination of Gary Taffet. And Gary, congratulations to you. You did a great job. You did. You did. And last, but certainly not least, okay, she is remarkable. And the determination from the discussions, we put up earlier versions, we did things together, we talked about ways to be flexible and where we can get something done. And she sure made sure that every time she said something would happen, it did. Just like teachers do. They keep their word and they get things done. And she is the epitome of not only a great teacher, but a great labor leader, a great negotiator, and today, I suspect, a very great day deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, a standing ovation from Miss Marie Blitzen, who deserves it. I'm going to close with this. I opened with the Grateful Dead. Don't worry, I'm not going to close with an Irish song. As long as I don't sing, Coughlin's heard it. It's not pretty. The strange trip got us here, which tells me, and it does so many times here in New Jersey, the governor's mentioned it because of his leadership, and to Craig and to Steve, things get done. We evolve, we adapt. And today, we adapt to make lives better for, as Eloy talked about, the many, many Mr. Fuchettis. And the stories that we heard and continue to hear, and the advocacy, whether it's from the Ann Margarets, the Sean Spillers, or the Marie Blitzens, everybody who came forth and fought the good fight. Sometimes you are the one that you can win or lose, and today we all won the good fight. Congratulations to all of you.
I was bracing, I'm going to date myself, for something perhaps from Inagata-Davida by Iron Butterfly. That immediately registered with Marie. Again, I'm humbled to be here. I'm honored to be with this extraordinary group. Eloy, God bless you and everything you and your colleagues do. Steve, Craig, Joe, wouldn't be here without you. And Marie, you rock. With that, let's get this sucker signed. Highly unusual setup, by the way. I'm going to sign, mention the name of the person who gets the pen. They will be sanitized and given to you later. Not my idea. Not my idea. Marie, is that all right?
Yes.
Okay. Steve, Sweeney, you were channeling Joe Biden, I could tell. Big deal. First pen goes to Eloy Delgado. He's going to get laid out in order.
Okay.
So you're the first one, Eloy. Let's hear it again for an extraordinary leader, the president of the NJDA, Marie Bliston. Speaker Craig Coughlin. Senate President Steve Sweeney.